Hello again everybody, nice to have you back. Previously we have seen two videos. One of them was the how to mask a cake with the ganache or something similar, a similar cream, and also how to roll the fondant to get ready for this tutorial, which will be how to cover or how to coat the cake with fondant. So if you haven't watched that two video previously what I've shown you, please do that first. This one will make a lot more sense after that. So in this video, I'm going to show you two different methods of how to coat or cover the cake. The first method will be the usual common one-piece fondant, roll into the right size and put it on the cake and cover all in once. So what does it mean? That we have to roll the fondant into the size that the top is covered and the sides covered, and you have a little bit more extension on the side. So that it's 25 here and then maybe 10 here, which is about 25 and 45. Another 10 here is about 55. Let's say 50. All right. So the problem is when we try to coat higher cakes, we have to a little bit deal with that a couple of things which is first of all pushing something long, stretching to the shorter size without having kind of like a ripples effect, and then we don't lose the smoothness of the surface of the fondant. So let's see that. If this cake 25 centimeter, let's say this is a cake 25 centimeter, the 25 diameter circumference around here is about 75. All right, just the pi number 3.14, but let's say 3 round calculated, and then the rolled fondant is about that size. Let's say about 50. 50 times 3 is 150. What we're doing is we're taking 150 centimeter circumference, pushing slowly, and then try to get it down to the 75 centimeters. So 2 become 1. That's a bit of like a challenge when you have a high cakes, because when the cakes are getting smaller, that means the circumference of the cake getting smaller, but because of the height, the bigger number, which is the rolled fondant size, getting bigger. So even that the challenge is even bigger. You have to get something more longer than double to get smaller. So that's a bit of problem if you have a high cake. With this very fondant, I can attempt to go for high cakes because of two reasons. Because of that, the slow drying ability, at the same time, a good stretch. It gives me more chance to get success with that. But in this tutorial, my aim is to show you variety of different techniques. So if to get the cake a little bit higher, I like to show you second method. Instead of one piece, two-piece fondant coating, optionally upside down, to have a little bit more relaxation, a little bit more handier way, and also with less stress. So I like to bring now my cake on the table, talk about a little bit more about essential points to get a good start and achieve a good result. About the tools and material and ingredients, I've spoken quite in detail in the previous video. So, but let me just go through very shortly what I'm going to use to get this rolling done. I have 40 millimeter thickness PVC pipe. Is long enough to cover that size what we're looking for. That's actually ideal thickness for that kind of size. 4 millimeter thick thickness guides, which I'm using just a cardboard I just did myself. And you must have two of them and long enough to cover that size also again. And I have poking pins to get the air bubbles out. They have to park on a kind of visible block like that, so you don't forget inside the fondant. I have starch instead of icing sugar. I prefer because it's drier. And then wet and dry towels, very important, always stand by. And fondant levelers, or you can pushers, you can call, and also plastic knife that to help me to portion on and level the fondant. So plastic surgical gloves is quite handy here, not to be hygienic, also at the same time turn my hands a bit more tool functioning, like those somehow. Okay, and then ingredients wise, I have only fondant here and the cake, of course. The fondant I'm using, the one that I most prefer and endorse one, Vision, but doesn't mean that you can't use anything else. You can use however fondant you wish. Let's stay with the cake and talk about it a little bit more longer. So the cake has to be in certain condition to give you the right result. First of all, before anything else like a cold or warm or room temperature or whatever, the cake has to be firm. So I'm looking for a firm cake. I'm looking also a nice cake, like a nice and moist and quite easy and sort of pleasing to eat. All right. that means maybe you have fruit cake is firm enough, you don't have to chill down. But if there's any other cakes like nice and moist, that means it's not firm enough. So that means we have to chill the cake to get the firmness. So when we chill the cake, there may be some potential problems if you call that problem. Not for me, I will explain you why. So when you put the cake in the fridge, the cake will be nice and firm. It's ready to coat nicely. But there's a sweat on it. There is a condensation on it. So for some of us, people can say, oh, it's too much moisture, too much condensation. I don't like it. I like it because it works for me in a way that the cake is still firm because of cold. And at the same time, this moisture on the cake, it helps me to stick the ganache on top. So that is not so bad after all. All right. So the firmness on that edge is very important. So if you achieve this very nice 90 degrees edge with only ganache, you may have problem because that fondant, the first gets soft in room temperature, that corners. So it will look all right, but once you put the fondant on it, that soft ganache will be roundish at the end. Unless you're looking for round edges. That's of course different story again. So that means underneath that edge, you must have a chocolate quite close to the corner. For some time what we use a masking ganache. That means internal sandwiching ganache is 1 to 2, which is nice and sort of soft when you're eating. And then, but you like to have a firmer ganache outside, which I will suggest that instead of 1 to 2, you use 1 to 3 ganache. It will be still creamy and nice and sort of like easy to mask on the cake. Once the cake gets cold, it will be a lot firmer than inside. So that's also another solution to make it cake is right condition. Fondant wise, as I said before, there is no fondant. You can just grab it and roll it. You have to condition. So why is that? I'll show you why. So let me just grab a piece of fondant here, just from the top, without kneading anything. So as you see that the fondant is not really in the right sort of nice and smooth. So when you pull this out, you see that it's breaking. It's really grainy. It's not ready to roll. So that is not possible. Just grab it and then give it a roll. So you have to knead the fondant, make sure it's really nice condition. So what I'm doing now, I give some friction to fondant to heat up a little bit. And then once you nice knead it, so that's what's happened to fondant. Look at that. So that stretch is getting longer and longer. If I get a little bit longer, it will be even more stretch. But to get this fondant too soft, also not so good. So you have to just balance it. See that I can stretch it quite long. All right. So that means we have to also condition the fondant like we condition the cake, well kneaded, in the like a not so soft, not so hard condition, and we can start rolling. I'm going to now clear up a little bit and then give you the first method, one-piece coat. Very first step, as I mentioned before, you have to clean your tools, your table, your hands right now just before you start rolling, because we have this dust bombardment all the way, even that's in the last couple of hours. So you have to just clean the table right before rolling the fondant. Otherwise, the fondant will collect every single dust on its surface without asking our permission. So table is cleaned with wet towels, and after that we make sure its surface is very dry. Right? Tools are clean, hands are clean. Then we grab the fondant in the amount of calculated as you look into our fondant tools in our website, or you can just estimate if you have enough experience, you know how much is it. So give a good knead first. It starts always a little bit more difficult, but after just a few moments, the fondant becomes really nice and smooth. See, at the moment is when you're doing this, you see all those cracks appearing, so that's not right. So you have to knead so long that when you do that, it doesn't get any cracks on the surface. Give a bit of starch. Looks all right. Just a few more turns, we'll be ready. Okay. If you want to roll in round shape, you have to start from the round shape. So let's put this on the side. My cake is standby. I'm going to start rolling now. A little bit more starch at the beginning. Capture your air bubbles. More we pick up the air bubbles at this stage, we will have easier life later on. So what I'm trying to achieve is about 55 centimeter. Okay. Once the fondant reached the kind of like a 70-80% of the size, so what I do, I just put a little bit of starch on top and turning upside down. Let's check it out. It's almost there. Okay, this one we don't need anymore. My preferred side is this side, not this one I'm doing now. So if I go this direction, this way, and this direction this way, I have really straight fondant. As you see that I'm not really rolling the fondant, I'm just sliding my rolling pin on the surface. Okay, that's already big enough. So what I like to do now, when you pick up this, you have to get this here and then push a little bit in this edge. So by doing that, you eliminate that little bit indentation here. And take your cake in front of you, check it out, moisture enough. A little bit dry because it took to me so much time. So I just put a little bit of water around. Just a little bit, okay? That's it. Okay, now putting on the surface. And then do this. So we take the air out from the surface without pushing down. Okay, now secondly, secure the edges. Just a touch a little bit. just go about 1 centimeter down. So there will be no more downfall with the gravity. Okay, now the next thing is, that is the surface is good, the hands are clean, and then what you do is this. You use this three finger, and then just go small little circling motions. And then you see my position, my hand, this hand is about 10 o'clock and organizing this skirt, and this one is just turning this way. Just little circles. And then don't push too much, just a little bit, and then getting always another 2 centimeter down. A little bit of starch, just to slide easier, all right? Don't try to make it all in once. That's very, very important. Almost there. So I'm already on the lower corner. It's all good. But the thing is, my finger here, it's not squarish enough to get it completely down. So at this stage, I have to take this and then just go slowly this side's down, pushing that with round corner here. Also, not too much pressure. Everything with very small steps. Then I change to this corner. Now, is no more kind of like risk around here. Everything nice, there's no crack here, there's no kind of fold on the side, and then everything is nice. So what I do, I have a good look at it. So at this stage, what you can do, if you have multiple lights around the room, all right, that is give you that no shadow. So if you have a light here, like this studio here, that I have a light here, there's no shadow here. I can't really see that completely, that little bubbles. So the best thing is just switch off one of the lights in the room, like this one, and then maybe on another light on the side, which is this one. Then we look at it. Look at it, there's one bubble here. I just seen it because I just have the right light now. Just touch here, remove that. There's a little bit here. That's it. There wasn't much because we have removed that in the beginning. While we're rolling the fondant, we take all the airs out. So all what we have to do now, use our fondant leveler, give a good pressure on top to make sure that all those little bumps, which is very sort of difficult to see, give them a good sort of like straight texture on top, just like circling like this or going around like this. So that's actually first step of pushing. So after that, we remove that extension of this excess fondant. So what we do, we take the fondant knife, which is plastic knife, we go slightly pushing, not in once, just for a couple of turning, and then cut this one deeper and deeper till you reach to the base. That's it. And remove that excess fondant. You can leave this one here, it doesn't matter. This fondant doesn't get dry on the table. So just go now, more push. Once you're pushing like this, it may happen just in front of you, maybe just a few more little bumps, little bubbles that you can take it out. That is the time you can do everything what you can to make it everything is nice and straight. If you do that one in an hour time, I don't think it will be possible. Well, I'm quite happy with the result now. So we're going to clean up again. Now I'm sure there's more dust came along on the table, and start with the next coating, which is two-piece coating. For two-piece fondant coating, especially for high cakes, I need to have just a few more tools and little objects probably. So first thing is we need to get the fondant to fondant glue in some stage with something, which is the simplest thing, is a water will do the job. I can use water spray, but this water spray goes in bigger area. I need to get sort of like a locational, a very small area where the joint I like to put the moisture, not everywhere. That's why I'm going to use small little brush in the clean water. So just to make sure that you didn't use this brush yesterday or before yesterday for some other purposes, because it will be look clean first, but when the time comes you apply the water on surface of the fondant, you may be surprised with the pink or green color. So you have to be careful with that. Another thing is we have a little cut of another PVC roll. It just helps us to lift up the fondant and go on the side. So then I have a box cutter, smaller size, that is you can able to open a large piece, not a small little piece, and the sharp and clean, that will give us a clean cut. So we're talking about upside down. So to make it upside down, you need another board to put on the cake and turn it upside down. So this is kind of what I said before is a masking board, 5mm perspex, nice and strong. You don't have to use that. You can also use like aluminum sheets, something like this is nice and strong. And you can also use maybe a tile or something, as long as that is rigid, it's not really flexible. That is really no, you can't use this one because this is too soft. All right, I'm talking about guidance. You can have that when the cake is upside down like this. When you put your blade on the side, you have a beautiful, clean, exact from the right place cut. All right. So the cake is what I'm using here is about 20 centimeters wide and then 150mm, 15 centimeter high. So this is considered high enough to exercise this method. Can I coat this one with the first method I show you? Yes, I can, but I like to be a bit more variety of methods I like to show. That's why I'm doing this one with that method. All right, so let's get rolling. I clean my table and I make some calculations. How much fondant I need to achieve that nice result and also not to roll two big pieces and after that you cut off cuts and everything. It's not necessary. So the calculation is very simple. I need to have one top piece, eventually will be a lower piece during the process. So I need to have a nice big circle, about 25 centimeter, because the cake is 20 and then I need to have bigger than that. So 25, just like we did before, calculate the area and then times the thickness of the fondant what I'm eating, about 4 millimeter, and then calculate, apply to the 1.3 kilo, 1.35 kilo of fondant is 1 liter. So I've end up is about 200 gram, but I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger because in this case, you may go a little bit thicker than 4 millimeter. So I will still calculate for 4 millimeter, but just measure a little bit more. So, and then for the sides, so if I take 200 millimeter times pi number, which give me the circumference, and that's about 65 with a little bit of overlapping, 65, and then 18 centimeter top. Length times the other length is then times the thickness. It gives me, after all the calculations, about 630 gram of fondant I need to have it 65 centimeter and 18 centimeter long. But I will take it a little bit also again more to make it a little bit thicker than 4 millimeter. So first piece is the top piece. I already give neat, so no problem. I just roll it. All right. Do the usual thing. Round start for the achieving round piece. I like to go about 250 millimeters, slightly larger than the cake. So that is big enough and also thick enough. So what I do, I take my masking board, put a little bit of starch on it, but maybe this is not the right one. This is too much bits and pieces coming out. I just use this one, cloudy one, like that. Just don't scare about that. Just put enough starch that this one will be sitting nicely and then not sticking on the surface. Just like this, all right? I advise you not to use any kind of plastic or paper on it because it will be very slippery. So that has to be like a little bit locking, but at the same time not sticking, all right? The side piece, what I like to do, I'm gonna make one long piece and then a little bit longer than the circumference and overlapping together, and we're gonna cut with the blade, remove that excess and join together again. So that is this much. Make sure there's more than 700 gram. So that's a start, like that. I want to put that cake on this one while we have any space available. So what's happening here? Very easy. You take the cake from the base, like that, and turn around carefully and place it on it like this. Okay? But don't take 20 minutes to do that because the cake is nice and cold and then we didn't make any damage on the side, only just have to wash the hands again. So the cake is on the base already. Let's continue doing this. Hands are washed. All right. As we said, we're looking at the final shape is rectangular, so I'm going to start from the sausage shape. A few bubbles here. Okay. but we're looking for 65 centimeter long and 18 centimeter width piece of fondant, around 4 to maximum 5 millimeter thickness. Piece of dust here. Okay. This side is better. I keep it like that. So I want to make it upside down, but I turn it around. The other side is much nicer, so I keep it like this then. So at the end, I'm going to use the other side at the front. All right, a little bit of starch. And also a little bit here. Let's go. We need 18 centimeter this thickness. That is still at about 16, so I have to go bigger. Coincidentally, this roller is exactly 65 centimeters. So if I reach that size, I'm doing okay. Air bubble. That is already good. So I have to make sure that it's really level. Is it 65? Yes. Is it more than 18? Yes. So what I like to do now, I'm going to cut one side really straight. This side. That's done. Let's chop these two ends. We don't need that clean cut here, but we need to just tie it up a little bit. Okay. And this also not necessary to have that much of mountains. All right. Let's double check. The thickness is pretty good from the side, looking good. Now, what I like to do, I'm going to roll this one over here on top, right? To just make it sure that by rolling it's not going to stick together. So at the end of the day, what we want to have this side on top of the cake. So what I have to do now, I have to turn it other way around. All right, other way around, and rolling this way in order to get this side on the surface. A little bit more starch I like to put here. All right, just double check the side of the cake. It's quite sticky. That's good. Now, watch this. Just be careful, slowly. I'm going to roll this one exactly on this edge here. Okay. So that is already ready. Put it aside. Okay. Put it aside. And bring this cake here. Turntable. Put this one here. Bring this cake on this turntable, not this here, this one, like that. All right. Have a little bit of water and only moisturize this corner. It's good. Now this is very important, to put it on the right spot and then continue. I don't have to worry about getting exact on the edge because I can just cut it later on. So I actually aiming that to edge, but if it's get a little bit overlapping, it doesn't matter. Make sure you don't put it short. You don't put too much high. Okay, this is what I want, overlapping a little bit here. All right. Okay, now you can now work it out, that overlapping part, no problem at all. So what I like to do now, I'm going to cut one good slit here in this edge. I can just cut like this on this edge and then join it together. But I like to cut slightly, instead of like this, slightly this angle, so that joining part a little bit bigger. All right. So I'm just going to use that one like this. Go all the way down. Okay. This one is out. This one is out. Make sure that you're not messing up with the ganache. Put a little bit of water here, only over here, and put it back again. So it fits like a perfectly, because we removed that excess piece just from the right spot. Okay, so far so good. Everything is good here. Oops, just make a mess here a little bit. Doesn't matter. All right, now the time for making straight. The join is already managed. There's a little bit of indentation here. With this one done, very easy to cover it back, recover it, because it's still soft, not getting dry too quickly. Take your time. I put a little bit too much water on the edge, but doesn't matter. We can clean up this one later on. Now is the time to remove the side piece. Okay, make sure again that your tool's nice and clean. We just cut this one over the ganache, so it may have a little bit of chocolate at the end, so I clean again nicely. And then just go for very straight and then clean cut. You see that my guidance is the cake itself. Okay, so far so good. We already managed that. The next thing is I can use my blade or a scissor to remove this part. So I like to prefer that cutting about just a 2-3 millimeter from the upper side, not exactly from the edge. Just about 2 millimeters. If you feel that is too much, you just go around one more time. Because I like to have a really good touching down without seeing any kind of ganache or something. Then after that, what I do, I just pushing slightly inside like that. Every time you do that, you clean that actually. That's it. Should be enough. Now, next thing. Don't worry about all those things because they're not drying. This one, though, it doesn't dry this on the table like that. You can pick up tomorrow. You can knead still okay. All right. Put this one like that. And then make sure that you are in the center. Okay. So far, so good. Just go one more time. I like to do this. While we're having a good chance to do it right. All right. Look at that. Isn't that 100%? Especially if you want to have that kind of edge. It's like absolutely fantastic. Look at the joint, you can't even see it. Okay, a little bit of work it out here at the bottom. Bubble. Now, I have here, the joining part here is pretty nice. Another bubble. Pretty clean, but at the same time, to my eyes, a little bit of visibility here. I use a little bit too much water here, and too much water here, it was just too slippery. If I would use less water, just a little bit of moisture, it would not be this happen. So when that is happen, like a kind of visible crack over here, what you do, you have three options. Either you take a piece of fondant, put a little on the table, put a little bit of water, a small little palette knife to make it this one a little bit of creamy, and then you can just go over here like this very small amount, and then you can just smear it with just a bit of water on it. There will be no problem. Or let it dry, use a bit of royal icing to just scrape here a little bit, royal icing. Or if you don't have anything else, just take a white hard shortening. When it's completely dry tomorrow, maybe decorate tomorrow, just go around like this with the shortening. It will fill up this little crack. So this was the two-piece fondant coating for especially high cakes. So as you see, that upside down method is quite important, because if it's not upside down, you can't get this one such a circle. You can't get this guidance of the cake to cut this one. You can do it, how to do that, but it's very sort of inconvenience and tedious. You just put over here and you put your blade over here. You can also cut like that. But in that moment, what's happening, that skirt is going down, this bun becomes a bit roundish, it's a lot of problems. So upside down is for me quite necessary. So let me clean up and talk to you a little bit more about what else we can do. So after the removing all those plastic protection lines on top of the boards, it looks even better now. So that was the method number one, with the nice little beveled edge on the corner, and that is the two-piece coating for higher cakes with a perfect sharp edge on the corner without having too much hassle with that two leveler and going back and forwards to make this edge as good as possible, the corner. So cannot go better than that in a sense. All right, so is this all what we can do for coating the cake? I tell you one more thing, as a kind of this kind of cakes, if you have a cake like larger than this, heavier than that, and then even higher than that, so it is so heavy so you cannot hold it and turn upside down. All right, so what you can do, you can just calculate that height, what I did before, adding that size of the height and plus the 1/3 of the top. So this is 20, let's say 6.5 or 7 plus the 15, about 20 centimeter height, and then the circumference, just one big rectangle piece. Go around and hug it, and then join it together, cut with the blade, whatever you do, everything. So after that, the top is accumulating like that, and then fold this on top of the cake. You can easily achieve about like 2-3 centimeters on top, nice and clean like this. But the middle will be accumulated, will be too much of the fondant to get rid of. So after that, you use the scissor to remove that fondant, and then whatever you have, push it down and with leveler, and you get sort of like a nice edge, but ugly center. But I'm assuming that you're going to use another cake on top, or maybe another centerpiece that will be also covering that ugly area. It will be completely fine. So one piece, two piece, can we do more? Of course, if you have more intricate pieces like three-dimensional cakes, etc. So you don't have to make one piece. You can go for multiple pieces. Target one area and you can just go one coating, and then target the next area, you can go another coating, overlapping different colors. That is also very common method to multiple pieces of coating. That's all for today, guys, for this tutorial. If you need more information about this, the Vision, please, and if you're not in our website, so if you're watching in our website, you can just go on the site, there's a banner, just click on it, you will go to the website, polandfood.com, and you will have more information about that. So, and also, you have already learned how to mask the cake, how to roll the fondant, how to coat the cake. So there's no excuse to decorate cakes like Yener's way. So why don't you subscribe and then start learning how to decorate cakes like Yener's way, and then start to amaze people. So anyway, you subscribe or not, doesn't matter. We still appreciate your time today, you watching us. And thank you so much for being again with us. And God bless you all. Till to the next one, enjoy your work. Bye for now.